Hi, my name is Estelle. I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo. My husband works for the army, but he's not for the army. He's just doing it to put food on the table. He knows all the secrets of the government, what's happening and what is going to happen. One day he came home and he told me about something bad that was going to happen in the DRC, of which we decided to flee. But unfortunately, that thing happened way before we could gather enough money for all of us to go. I had to leave him behind. That's why I'm here in Ireland. Hi, my name is Hakim. I'm from Pakistan. I'm gay. My family disowned me. The community wanted to kill me. I'm not going to talk about my religion that says people like me should be punished. And I'm an engineer by profession. I had to run for my life. That's why I'm here in Ireland. Hi, my name is Bongani. I'm a human rights lawyer from Zimbabwe. In my country, there is no rule of law. I couldn't stand going into a court where law was no longer fair and just. Speaking my ground and saying my piece got me into so much trouble. That's why I'm here in Ireland. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the people that are living in the direct provision. My name is Nqobizitha Vella, also an asylum seeker staying in the direct provision. What is direct provision? Direct provision is a system that was set up by the government in 1999-2000 to cater for asylum seekers as they come into the country, while they wait for the Department of Justice to make a decision about their stay in the state. That system was initially meant to take 6 months. But let me take you to the time that I first arrived in Ireland, way back in 2015. I was placed in an accommodation center in Cork called Ashbourne House. I met a Nigerian lady. She was so nice and welcoming. After speaking to her, I asked her how long she's been in the system. She said 8 years. Later on, I went to introduce myself to my neighbor, who is from South Africa. After talking to her a while, I asked her how long she's been in the system. She said 7 years. Imagine how that made me feel. Then I thought, well, a small room for me and my son, and a bathroom, not too bad. But he will grow up to be a teenager. I'll still be staying with him in that small room. He's a boy. Well, I remember when I was 6 years old, about to go to school. That first week, I was the most excited, if not in the whole world, to put on a school uniform and going to school. I would wake up so early in the morning and wake everybody else in the house. Then my mother said to me, "My child, you are starting to wake up now to do something in your life. It's primary school, then it's secondary school after that. It's going to be college and going to work. Will you be this excited forever? I hope you do." And here I am in Ireland, where I'm told to wake up, sit, and do nothing. After so many years of waking up to do something, now I have to wake up and do nothing. I would wake up in the morning, take my son to the bus, come back, sleep, eat, wake up, eat, sleep, and wait for him to come back from school, and I'll help him with homework. But that was it. I decided to jog in the morning. I joined a running club. I started reading. I joined a book club, but the vacuum was still there. Where I stay, they offer English classes. But Robert Mugabe took care of that for me already. They offer computer classes. I've already done those. They offer sewing. I'm not good with that. So I couldn't do anything. The vacuum, it made me feel crazy. I remember I started to cry. I'll think about the things that happened to me back home. And those things, they'll make me cry. I added the crying into my routine. So I'll take my son to the bus, come back, eat, start crying. Or sometimes I'll start digging of things that happened way back, maybe when I was at school. They say an idle mind is a devil's workshop. In my case, it was that, and it was not healthy anymore. Then one day I went for my interview in Dublin with the Department of Justice. Like any other interview, it's hell. So when I came back, I was so stressed, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I just couldn't do anything. The uncertainty of not knowing whether they are going to allow me to stay in this country or they're going to deport me back to my country. It was so hard. Then one night I couldn't sleep, I decided to write a short story and post it on Facebook. That morning, after that short story, my inbox was abuzz, people asking me, is that a true story? What happened next? It was fiction. So I told them, okay, I'll finish the story later. I finished the story and killed the main character. That was the end of the short story, but they couldn't take it. They're like, please continue, we can't take this. We are enjoying your story, just continue. I put on my cap, my creative cap, and I continued. I was writing using my tablet. It broke, but I couldn't stop. I started using my phone. One friend of mine, she got me a Bluetooth keyboard. I'll connect it to my phone, I'll open the email, and then I'll type from there and post on Facebook. I was posting to so many groups, giving to so many WhatsApp groups. Now I had something to do. I was so excited. Every day in the morning, I'll wake up with looking forward to writing a chapter for the day. Sometimes at night, I couldn't sleep, not because of stress, but because the creativity was just, coming. And I'll wake up in the middle of the night and write the points of that of a chapter that was upcoming. It was so interesting. Life got so interesting. I didn't know that I could write. But in the direct provision, a writer was born. One day, one of my readers said, you know what, your chapters are becoming very short. What's going on? I'm like, you know what, I'm now using a phone. I can't measure. So she got on with other ladies from a group called TEDxUniversityCollegeCork, and they bought me a laptop and some clothes. Wow. I'm still touched even today because it's a good piece of machine. And I'm continuing to write. But not everybody is as lucky as me. Other people are still in that situation whereby they don't have anything to do, that are so stressed, they're so depressed. And think of Estelle. She left her husband back home in a dire situation. Now she's here in a foreign country, in a situation like direct provision. What is she supposed to do? We have people that are staying in single people's accommodation centers. Those people are meant to share a small room with a person from a different culture, different backgrounds, a person with weird habits, and you're supposed to stay with that person for 8 years. The accommodation center that I was placed in used to be a hotel, so you can imagine it's a little bit comfortable. But there is one accommodation center in Athlone. It's a caravan with metal walls and metal roof. Can you imagine when it's cold? It's very cold. When it's hot, it's the hottest. When it's raining, can you rest in such an environment? Can you study? Birds walking on the roof in the morning. I'm not going to talk about children. Us adults can go into our rooms, lock ourselves up, and be emotional the way we want to. But our children have to go to school and face other children who are living in normal communities with normal families in normal houses. High school children. I spoke to a high school child. She stays in Mill Street. She said in her school, her name is, they call her by the name of the accommodation center that she stays in. No one talks to her. If not an accommodation center that she stays in, they call her a refugee. That's her name. All her high school life is that kind of life. The food that we eat, I'm not going to lie, our accommodation center cooks very good food, but it's not my food. I'm not given the privilege to cook for myself. Yes, some accommodation centers, they have kitchens for residents where they cook their own food. Ours, it's a small kitchenette. If I want to cook my own food, I have to buy it with the €21.60 that I get every week. And African food is very expensive because it's import. Imagine if I were to take you to Zimbabwe right now. In Zimbabwe, we eat maize in the morning in the form of porridge. We eat sadza in the afternoon and in the evening. That's my kind of food. I enjoy it. I love it. If I were to take you there, you would enjoy it for the first week, but after that, you'll be looking for potatoes. So that's the state that we're living in the direct provision. One day, Minister David Stanton asked me, do you want direct provision to end? I said no. Why? Just close your eyes for a minute and imagine Estelle, the lady from Democratic Republic of Congo. She's French-speaking. She comes here to Ireland and she's thrown into the community the first week that she's here. She has no English at all. If you can imagine me, an English-speaking person, my first week or first month in Ireland, I couldn't ask for directions from anyone because of the Cork accent. I just don't understand. Even today, it's getting better, but I just couldn't. What more of Estelle, who can't speak at all, English at all? She has children that she has to help with homework. She has a husband that she left back home that she has to think about. Yes, she's got maps, directions to wherever, going to the post office, going to the GP, but she can't cope. It's in a different country, a different setup, different people, different culture. Everything is just different. She's in the community, but in the direct provision, she gets help. We have a volunteering group called Bridge. They help with homework, they help with taking us to the GPs, they help us with everything. But imagine she's in the community with neighbors that don't understand why these people are here in this country. But in the direct provision, she has people that are also in the same situation as her. They are same people that some speak the same language as her. So it's a better place to be, but let's go back to the drawing board. It was meant to take for only 6 months, not for 8 years. In the direct provision centers, there is too much skill, but people are tied. They can't work. They are not allowed to work. Yes, there was a bill that was passed that people can now work, but it's a small percentage that qualifies to work. We are told to sit and not do anything. A few weeks back, I read a short story about a farmer, an award-winning farmer. That man used to enter into competitions and his grain was the best all the time. A journalist asked him, why is it that your grain is always winning all the time? What is it? What's your secret? What is it that you do? He said, I share my grain with my neighbors. Baffled, the journalist asked, how can you share your grain with your competitors? He said, if their grain is poor, the wind will blow the poor pollen into my good grain and it will destroy it. But if I share my good grain with them, that wind will blow good pollen to my good grain. That's why I'm always a winner. What am I saying? Am I saying Ireland is in competition with Asia or Africa? No. I'm saying if Ireland could share its knowledge and its resources to Africa or those poor Asian countries, we would come here as investors or tourists, not as asylum seekers. Thank you.